In the dusty village of Amiri, a young woman named Zira was sold by her drunken father, traded like a forgotten thing. But fate had other plans. From tears and hunger, she would rise into love, power, and purpose. This is not just a story of pain. It's a story of faith, loyalty, and destiny. Welcome to African Tales by Call, where African stories come to life. Subscribe and join our storytelling family. In the small, dusty village of Amiri, where red earth covered every path and the evening wind carried the smell of roasted maize, lived a young woman named Zira. She was 22, but her eyes carried the weight of many storms. Life had not been kind since her mother's death 5 years ago. Her father, Bako, once a gentle farmer who sang while tilling the soil, had become a shadow of himself, a man who found comfort only at the bottom of a calabash filled with palm wine. Bako's new wife, Mama Lira, was a woman whose tongue dripped venom. She hated Zira with a passion that burned hotter than the midday sun. She made the girl cook before dawn, fetch water from the far stream, sweep the compound till her hands ached, and still go to the farm till her back hurt. At night, when everyone ate, Zira often watched the pot scrape empty before her turn came. The villagers pitied her, but none dared to speak. Everyone feared Bako's temper. When drunk, he was known to throw chairs and curses in equal measure. Then one market day, a stranger arrived. A young man named Tano, lean and tall, with eyes that carried quiet fire. His sandals were worn, his shirt faded, but his manner was respectful. He came seeking farm work, and Bako, always eager for cheap labor, hired him to weed and plant cassava. For 3 months Tano worked tirelessly under the scorching sun, his skin darkened by sweat and dust. Each evening he waited for his pay, and each evening Bako would say, "Tomorrow, my son. When I sell the yams, I'll pay you." Tomorrow never came. One afternoon, after weeks of empty promises, Tano walked to the compound, his face tight with anger. "Baba Bako," he said, "please pay me today. I've worked hard, and I need my wages." Bako scratched his bearded chin, pretending to think. His eyes drifted toward Zira, who was sweeping quietly in the corner. Then, with a crooked smile, he said, "You want money? Take that girl instead. That's your payment." The broom slipped from Zira's hands. "Baba, please no," she whispered, her voice trembling. But Bako roared, "Shut up. You should be grateful someone wants you." Mama Lira folded her arms, grinning. "Let her go," she said. "One less mouth to feed." Tano stared at Zira, stunned. "Take her," he repeated softly. "Yes," Bako said with finality. "She's yours. You've earned her." The world blurred for Zira. Her chest tightened. Tears rolled down her face as she fell to her knees. Nobody hugged her. Nobody prayed for her. Only her little half-brother, Kemi, peeked from behind the kitchen wall, crying silently as she packed her few clothes into a black nylon bag. Zira followed Tano out of the compound with trembling legs. She didn't look back. The sound of her father's laughter echoed behind her like a curse. They walked in silence through the red paths of Amiri until they reached the dusty roadside where an old bus waited. Tano paid for both of them with the few coins he had left. The bus coughed and rattled as it started its long journey toward the city. Zira sat by the window, clutching her small bag, watching the trees and farmlands fade behind her like forgotten dreams. The ride was long, the road bumpy. Passengers shouted, babies cried, and traders argued over change. But Zira barely heard anything. She was lost in her thoughts. Was this her new life? Was she truly being given away like a goat at the market? She turned slightly toward Tano, who sat quietly beside her, staring out the window too. Despite her fear, something in his calm presence made her feel safe. He didn't speak much, but his silence was not harsh, it was thoughtful. At sunset, they arrived at the city. Zira's eyes widened. The lights dazzled her. Cars honked, people hurried past, and tall buildings stretched toward the sky like proud trees. "So this is the city," she murmured. "Yes," Tano replied softly. "It's not perfect, but you'll get used to it." They boarded a tricycle that carried them through narrow streets until they stopped in front of a large black gate. Tano knocked, and moments later, the gate creaked open. Inside was a world Zira had never imagined. The compound was wide, paved, and clean. Flowers lined the path, and a small fountain danced in the corner. Zira gasped. "You live here?" she asked. Tano smiled shyly. "Not in the main house. Follow me." They walked past the big mansion until they reached a smaller building behind. A tidy one-bedroom house with a small sitting room and a kitchen. "This is my place," he said proudly. Zira looked around the simple but clean room. The floor was swept, the bed neatly made, the air fresh with the scent of soap. "It's beautiful," she whispered. Tano nodded. "The owner of the main house, Mademoiselle, gave it to me. I work as the compound guard now." Zira turned to him, surprised. "She lets you stay here for free?" He nodded. "As long as I keep the place safe." For the first time in years, Zira smiled faintly. "Then maybe this is where my peace begins," she murmured. 2 days later, Zira woke up to the smell of something delicious. She opened her eyes, blinking at the sunlight sneaking through the curtain. From the kitchen came the sound of sizzling oil. She sat up quickly, her heart light. It had been years since she had slept so peacefully. No shouting, no hunger, no fear. When she stepped into the small kitchen, she found Tano stirring a pot, humming softly. "Good morning," she said shyly. He turned with a smile. "Morning, Zira. Hope you slept well." She nodded. Like a child, they both laughed. The warmth in his voice filled the room like sunshine. After breakfast, Tano said, "Get dressed. I want you to meet someone." "Who?" she asked curiously. "You'll see," he replied with a grin. Zira wore a soft gown he had bought her from the roadside market, brushed her hair neatly, and followed him. Her heart thumped fast as they approached the main house. The tall black door opened slowly, and standing there was a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a calm smile. "Good morning, Ma," Tano greeted. The woman nodded warmly. "Morning, Tano. And who is this lovely young woman?" she asked, looking at Zira. Tano smiled. "This is Zira, my wife." Zira's mouth parted in surprise, but the words stayed trapped in her throat. Madame Ose's eyes softened even more. "Ah, so this is the wife you spoke about. She's beautiful." Zira bowed slightly. "Good morning, Ma." "Please call me Madame Ose," the woman said gently. "You're welcome here, my dear. I can already tell you have a sweet spirit." Zira blushed and murmured, "Thank you, Ma." After some light talk, the couple returned to the smaller house. As they sat that evening, the air was peaceful. Zira whispered, "It feels like home here." That evening, after cleaning up, Zira sat on the bed, watching Tano fix the handle of the wardrobe. "Tano," she called softly. "Yes," he replied, still focused on the screws. "Can I tell you something?" He looked up, curious. "Of course." Zira sighed, twisting her fingers nervously. "When my father told me to follow you, I felt like rubbish. Like I was thrown away. I thought you'd treat me the same. Shout at me, beat me, use me." Her voice trembled. Tano stood slowly and walked to her. "But I didn't," he said quietly. "You didn't," she agreed, tears filling her eyes. "You respected me. You gave me peace. I don't regret leaving Amiri anymore. Maybe it was God's plan." He took her hand gently. "I'd never hurt you, Zira. I liked you from the first day I saw you on the farm. I wanted to talk to your father, but I was scared. I had nothing." Zira's eyes widened. "You liked me back then?" He nodded. "Yes. When he told me to take you, I was shocked. But deep inside, I felt it was fate." She smiled faintly. "I don't love you yet, Tano, but I like how you treat me. You make me feel like I matter." He chuckled softly. "That's because you do. You're a queen, Zira, only hidden in the wrong palace." She laughed through her tears, and for the first time, she felt seen. Weeks passed. Zira began to find her rhythm in the city. She cleaned, cooked, and helped Madame Ose with groceries. The older woman took a liking to her quickly. "You're a blessing, Zira," she often said. "I can see the light in your spirit." Zira would smile shyly, thankful for kindness she had long been denied. One sunny afternoon, Madame Ose called her to sit. "Zira," she said, "I have been watching you. You are hardworking, humble, and gentle. My cook just traveled abroad, and I need someone I can trust. I want you to take her place." Zira gasped. "Me, Ma?" "Yes, you," Madame Ose smiled. Zira's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you, Ma. May God bless you." That night, she ran back to the quarters and hugged Tano tightly. "Tano, she gave me the job." He lifted her and spun her around, laughing. "My wife, the city cook." The next morning, Zira rose early and dressed neatly in her new cook's uniform. She felt proud, nervous, but proud. While she sliced vegetables in the kitchen, she hummed softly. The sound of her voice carried a peace she hadn't known in years. Then suddenly the door creaked. She turned and saw a tall, handsome young man leaning against the frame, smiling boldly. "So you're the famous Zira," he said with a playful grin. Zira froze, surprised. "Good afternoon, sir." He laughed lightly. "Don't call me sir. I'm Dammy. Just Dammy. My mother told me we have a new cook, but she didn't tell me she was this beautiful. Zira blinked, uncomfortable. Thank you, sir, Dammy. He stepped closer. Your eyes, they're like the evening sky after rain. I could stare at them all day. Zira turned away quickly, pretending to stir the pot. Please, I still have work to do. Relax, he teased. You act like I came here to bite you. When Zira finished her chores that evening, she found Tano waiting outside their small house. You look tired, my queen, he said with a smile. How was your first day? She hesitated, looking uneasy. Tano, the madam's son, he came to the kitchen. Oh, Dammy? Tano asked casually. Yes. He said things that made me uncomfortable. He said I'm beautiful, and that I should stop calling him sir. He looked at me in a strange way. Tano laughed softly. Ah, don't mind him. That boy likes to joke. Zira frowned. It didn't feel like a joke. He touched her shoulder gently. Don't worry. You're safe with me always. But Zira's heart didn't rest. The next few days, Dammy kept appearing, with compliments, gifts, and sly smiles. One afternoon, while she was seasoning stew, he came again. You cook like a goddess, he said, standing close. Tell me, what else can those hands do? Zira dropped the spoon and stepped back. Please, Dammy, I'm married. Don't talk to me like that. He chuckled. Married? To who? That poor security man outside? You can't be serious. Her eyes flashed. Don't insult my husband. Dammy smirked. Listen, Zira. I can change your life. London, Canada, wherever you want to study. You'll never scrub another pot. Just say yes to me. Zira's lips trembled, but her voice was firm. No, Dammy. I'm not for sale. He scoffed. For sale? I'm offering you comfort. I don't want comfort without peace, she said boldly. I'd rather dream beside a poor man who respects me than live in a mansion where I'm a toy. Dammy's smile faded. You'll regret this, he said coldly. She met his eyes steadily. If standing by love is a mistake, then I'll make it again. Then she picked up her pot and walked away. That evening, Zira sat quietly beside Tano. He noticed her silence. What's wrong? He asked softly. She turned to him, eyes glistening. Dammy came again. He said he'll pay you off or get you sacked, just to take me. Tano's jaw tightened, but he exhaled slowly. And what did you tell him? Zira looked into his eyes. I told him no. I told him I believe in you, in us. I said I'd never betray you. Tano's eyes softened. He pulled her into his arms. Thank you, Zira. Thank you for choosing me even when it's hard. She smiled weakly. You chose me first when nobody wanted me. This is my turn to stand by you. That night, they knelt together and prayed. Their hands clasped tightly, they asked God for strength, for protection, for peace. When they lay down afterward, Zira whispered, Tano? Yes, my queen? Why haven't you ever, touched me? He turned to her gently. Because love should never rush. I want your heart to heal first. I want your yes to come from peace, not pressure. Zira's eyes filled with tears. No one ever cared how I felt before. Tano smiled softly. Then it's time someone did. That night, he kissed her forehead, and she finally slept without fear. Days passed. The house was peaceful again, until one morning, Dammy's arrogance took a darker turn. While Zira washed vegetables, he slipped behind her and touched her shoulder. She jumped in fear. Stop, she cried, stepping back. Why pretend? Dammy said, his voice sharp now. You think I don't see how you look at me? I don't look at you, she snapped. Respect yourself. Dammy laughed bitterly. You'll come to me eventually. Everyone has a price. Zira stared him down. Then you haven't met a woman with worth. That night, Zira couldn't hold it in anymore. She went straight to Madame Osei's door and knocked. The older woman opened, smiling warmly. Zira, my daughter, come in. Zira stepped inside, trembling. Madam, I need to speak to you, please. Of course, my dear. Sit. Zira's voice broke as she said, It's your son, Dammy. He has been disturbing me, saying things no decent man should say. Promising money, school, even to sack my husband if I don't agree. Madame Osei's smile faded. He said that. Yes, ma. I can't keep quiet anymore. Madame Osei folded her hands and looked at her. Zira, you're a beautiful and wise girl. Maybe my son sees your potential. Zira frowned. Ma, I'm not saying leave your husband, the woman said calmly. But think about it. We can give you a good life. Comfort. Education. Even your husband will benefit. Zira's heart shattered. Ma, you too? Madame Osei sighed. My dear, this world is about opportunities. Don't waste yours. Zira rose slowly, shaking. With all due respect, Ma, I'm not that kind of woman. Her voice trembled, but her words were fire. I didn't marry Tano because of money. I married him because when everyone rejected me, he saw value in me. I was thrown away like a broken calabash, but he picked me up and gave me dignity. Madame Osei opened her mouth, but Zira lifted her hand politely. Please, Ma. If your son doesn't stop this nonsense, we will leave this house. I won't stay where love is mocked. And with that, she turned and walked out, her tears falling fast but her steps strong. When Zira reached the small house, her heart was pounding. She pushed open the door and froze. On the table lay bundles of money, stacked high. Tano, she called, confused. He stepped out quietly from the corner. You're back. What is all this? She asked. He smiled faintly. Money I've been saving. I plan to start a small business someday. But after what I saw today, your courage, your loyalty, I decided. You should use this to go to school. Zira shook her head, shocked. No, Tano. This is your dream. He walked closer. Zira, I can always work again. But you have a mind that needs wings. Let me give you that chance. She stood, her voice rising. And I say no. We'll use it together. We'll rent a small room, open a food stall. You'll manage it, and when it grows, I'll go to school. Step by step, like you always say. He stared at her, moved. You're wiser than I ever imagined. She smiled through her tears. And you're the man I prayed for. He took her hand and kissed it. Then it settled. Tomorrow we start our new life. Zira laughed softly, resting her head on his chest. Let it be small, but let it be ours. Outside, the city lights flickered through the window. For the first time, both of them felt truly rich, not with money but with love. The next morning, Zira woke early, swept the floor, and waited for Tano to return. Hours passed. Then a knock came. She opened the door and saw Madame Osei and Dami standing there. Good morning, my daughter, Madame Osei said gently. Zira hesitated but let them in. My son and I came to apologize, the woman said. We were wrong. Dami spoke foolishly. I encouraged him blindly. Please forgive us. Zira's heart softened a little. It's okay, Ma. Dami lowered his head. You're a better woman than I deserve. I'm sorry. Madame Osei smiled faintly. You are our wife now, Zira. A rare woman. And one day, you'll understand what that truly means. Zira frowned slightly. Your wife, Ma. The older woman only smiled. In time, my dear. After they left, Zira stood in confusion. She didn't understand their words. Later that evening, Tano returned home, smiling wearily. Where have you been? She asked. He sat down and held her hands. Zira, there's something I must tell you. Her heart skipped. What is it? He took a deep breath. Madame Osei is not my boss. She's my mother. And Dami, he's my younger brother. Zira stepped back, shocked. What? I'm sorry, Tano said quickly. I never meant to deceive you. I wanted to know if someone could love me for me, not for my family's money. I was tired of fake love. Zira's voice trembled. So all this time you were testing me? He looked down. Not a test, a prayer. And God answered it through you. Silence filled the room. Then Zira sighed deeply and sat beside him. You shouldn't have lied, but I understand. He looked up, surprised. She smiled playfully. But since you're a rich man, you owe me a car and a mansion for lying. Tano laughed, relief washing over him. Done, my queen. I'll give you both. Zira burst into laughter and threw her arms around him. I love you, Tano. And I love you even more, my Zira, he whispered. News spread across Amiri like wildfire. Tano, the poor guard, was actually a billionaire's son. When Bako heard it, he almost dropped his cup of palm wine. What? My daughter married who? He gasped. He grabbed his phone and called immediately. Zira, my daughter, forgive me. I was blind. Bring your sister to the city. Let her live with you. Zira's voice was calm but cold. Baba, no. I forgive you, but I will not return to your madness. Keep your peace, and your wife. Then she hung up, tears in her eyes, but not of sorrow, of release. Years rolled by like songs on the wind. Zira studied hard, supported by her husband's quiet strength. One sunny afternoon, she walked across a graduation stage wearing a white coat. The crowd erupted as Tano shouted, That's my wife. My doctor. Zira laughed, waving at him with pride. When she reached him afterward, he lifted her off the ground. I told you your wings would fly, he said. She smiled through happy tears. And you were the wind beneath them. One calm afternoon, Tano drove her through a beautiful estate. They stopped before a white mansion with golden gates. Why are we here? Zira asked, curious. Tano smiled and handed her a key. Because this is yours. Zira gasped. Stop joking. I promised you a car and a mansion, remember? He said, grinning. She covered her mouth, trembling. Tano, you're serious? He nodded. Completely. She jumped into his arms, laughing and crying at once. When they stepped inside, Zira whispered. From the mud of Amiri to this palace. God, you are too good. Tano smiled softly. And he's not done yet. Zira turned to him suddenly, her eyes shining. There's something I need to tell you too. What is it, my love? She took his hand, placed it on her stomach, and smiled. We're going to have a baby. Tano froze, then shouted in joy. Zira, are you serious? Yes, she laughed through tears. 3 months already. He lifted her, spinning her around. God, thank you. I'll love this child with all my heart. I'll protect you both forever. He knelt, kissing her stomach. My baby, your father loves you already. Zira stroked his head, whispering, from rejection to royalty, truly, my name fits me, Zira, the one who shines. That night, under soft golden lights, they sat on the balcony of their mansion. The city lights twinkled like scattered stars. Tano held her hand. Do you remember the day your father gave you away? Zira nodded slowly. Yes. I thought my life had ended. He smiled. And now? She looked at him, her voice full of gratitude. Now I know. Sometimes pain is God's disguise for purpose. They sat quietly, the wind brushing their faces. Inside her heart, Zira felt peace, deep, glowing, unbreakable peace. She turned to him and whispered, Our better days are here, my love. He smiled, kissing her hand. Yes, my queen. Step by step, just as we dreamed. And as the night embraced them, the once-forgotten girl of Amiri finally became the woman her pain had promised she'd be. Please subscribe and share to Africa Tales by Call.